First, we have that the Afenifere asks Southwest governors to take action against bandits' influx. And Afenifere, the pan-Yoruba socio-cultural organization, has called on Southwest governors to get ready to take serious action against the influx of bandits into their region. The organization said this in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Jare Ajayi, in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. This is coming days after Seyi Makinde, the Oyo State governor, disclosed that bandits are infiltrating the state. Makinde said, during a security briefing this morning, I learned that some bad elements from the northwest are relocating here due to military heat in their zones. During my birthday retreat in Fashola, bandits had camped less than 2 kilometers from where I was staying. This underscores the seriousness of the situation, he said. Reacting to this, Afenifere said such a revelation from a state governor should not be handled with levity. The group therefore called on the 6 governors in the region to, as a matter of urgency, hold a meeting to map out strategies to expel the bandits from the region and to ensure that such elements do not infiltrate Yoruba land at any time again. For these objectives to be achieved, there is the need to carry certain groups along. These are the security agencies that will implement whatever security decisions that are reached. Traditional rulers and heads of local vigilantes known as Ode, while calling on traditional leaders in the region not to keep quiet on the matter. Ajayi urged the governors to include functional, up-to-date equipment in their strategies to combat the bandits and map out strategies to expel them from the region. Quickly, Chief, I would love to ask about your thoughts about this before we actually get right into the segment of questions. What do you have to say about the situation coming from the Afenifere social-political organization in Yoruba land?
I think the Afenifere are not a group to ignore. They make comments when comments should be made, and given the background of those who are members of Afenifere, professionals in different areas, they are very knowledgeable about the events. Okay. Now, frankly, the bandit issue is not new. And the fact that they may even be infiltrating in other parts of Nigeria is also not something that's a secret. Now, of course, you will agree that there's serious heat in the Northwest where security agencies are acting in accordance with presidential directives to rid this country of infiltrators. Now, I think there have been gains in the Northeast too, where the army has been fighting very strenuously to check the expansion of Boko Haram. It's the Lukarawas that are the trouble now in the Northwest. Now, but notwithstanding, my worry is that because we've not been able to find solutions to 2 issues, which help to fuel, in my view, the actions of bandits, then we are having this what looks like the scare in the Southwest. Now, I think that we've not been able to take absolute control of the Middle Belt. That's North Central, the North Central area, because quite a lot of ignoble things are happening in the Northwest, which have stultified farming, which has put so many lives at risk, and which continues to create security challenges. Okay, because between the North and the South, you need to get through the Middle Belt. You just can't find yourself in the Southwest, for example, just like that. It means that there's a leakage in the North Central area that's helping to create these opportunities. Now, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, and I agree with the Afenifere that Yoruba governors must come together immediately, to deal with it. Now, there is another issue that the Tinubu administration must deal with, the issue of ranching. Because it's also been part of the undercover for this, all of this instability that we are seeing. People coming from outside Nigeria, trying to find home in Nigeria and refusing to have ranches. So, For as long as they're able to stroll from end to end, they're likely to become problems to natives who are already settled.
So, this issue of ranching should be something that has to be put into consideration and stopped as soon as possible, because they use that as
because you see, part of the problem that we have, which is the marketing Nigeria, is insecurity. And I must give it to the Tinubu administration that compared to what had existed in the past, we have a more quiet, what appears to be a more successful campaign against, when you say you've degraded the insurgents. I think there's evidence, increasing evidence, that these insurgents have been degraded. But we must pursue, must eliminate them.
Well, Chief Woke, you know this insurgence has actually been on for a very long time, even during the...
more than 15 years.
Up to 15, or more than 15 years. And I don't know, do you think that nothing has been done about this, or it's more like the government would do something and then backslide and just let it be? The Boko Haram insurgency has actually been lingering for a very long time.
Yes.
Even when the Chibok girls issue started, you know, it just went into the blues, into thin air, but we don't know if it's actually been sorted out. But we've had cases where these bandits get into schools and destroy properties and, you know, abduct most of the pupils or students from the school, you know. And all this whole issue of terrorism and insecurity has actually been lingering for a very long time. Do you think the government has not been putting in place the right necessity to, you know, handle this? And that's actually my first question. Let's leave it at that. Do you think that the governors of the Southwest, you know, would put into place the right things to do, since the issue of insecurity has actually been going on and it's not been sorted out actually? Do you think that those governors actually want to sit up and put an act against this banditry?
First of all, governors are chief security officers of their states, and that puts them in, when it comes to dealing with security question, that puts them on the spot. For me, I believe very frankly that collaboration between states, and the good thing is that they all come from the Southwest region. So bringing them to the round table, fashioning strategies for dealing with the entry of bandits
in the region
will be easy to achieve. And I think we are beginning to look in this country about multi-policing. You're not just talking about the regular security forces here, who are, of course, commendably doing what they can within the limits of funding and equipment. But of course, rural groups, the vigilante groups that are also becoming involved, because they want their people to sleep with their two eyes closed. So bringing everybody together. The hunter who is able to get into the forest to hunt and who can spot unknown faces easily and then provide information. Getting the vigilante groups now that have been set up by communities, you know, as an act of self-preservation, and then utilizing the role play of traditional rulers. For instance, everybody brought together a portfolio of not just ideas, but people will help solve this problem.
In reference quickly, do you think this is something the northern governors should adopt? Because the issue of insecurity is on the rise right now, if I'm not mistaken, in the northern part of the country. Do you think this same thing that the governors, the Afenifere has urged the governors in the West to do you think it's something that the northern governors should adopt and do in order to curb the insecurity going on there?
I think they have always operated under the wings of Arewa. But I think to Frank, my take is the North should come clean with the rest of us. What's the picture? What are we seeing? How sincere are they? You know, because if you recall, when Jonathan was president of this country, he said there was the political Boko Haram and that they were in his administration. He didn't hide it. Because there are people who think about using maybe insurgency, you know, to promote certain agenda that could be ethnic, that could be religious. And my thinking, very clearly, is that the North is not coming clean with the rest of us. They're not telling us the truth. What they intend to gain, by destabilizing Nigeria or allowing those who want to destabilize Nigeria to use their territory
do you think something that is difficult to understand. Act?
What?
Do you think this is an intentional act to actually bring the country down?
Now, let's not forget, there are pan-Nigerianists in the North. They exist. They understand it, that we are better together.
Okay.
That we're a huge market working together. That we have potentials as a great nation staying together. There are those Northerners, and they exist. There are those who also have become increasingly radicalized, who are talking about a jihad that doesn't exist in these modern times. I don't know who you want to conquer, where you want to dip your sword. So all those stories, but for me, I'm thinking clearly, in the national interest.
Okay.
That there's nothing wrong with strong collaboration of Northern governors. The same way that the Southwest governors are planning.
Together. Okay.
The same way even in the Southeast, the Southeast governors are trying to get together. Every region has its peculiar problems and peculiar challenges. And
they come together
when people get together to discuss them, particularly because if you are chasing them, let me use rivers for example. If you are chasing criminals from rivers, tendency is that those running by land might run through Imo. Those going by water might go through Bayelsa. So having a neighborly relationship with governments in those areas, who are also on the alert as soon as we push, for example, in rivers, will be a good thing to do, because they'll be caught in crossfire, the criminals, and then they're easily identified, easily isolated, and says terminated. So that's the way it is.
Okay. Quickly, Chief Wuke, I would love to ask, do you think this issue of insurgency and banditry would be sorted out? Do you think they will put this in place? It's not about calling it out. It's not about bringing it to the notice of the governors. Do you think this is something they would want to work towards by achieving this aim of ending banditry in the West?
Look, if you're a governor, you know that your primary responsibility is maintain law and order, to ensure the safety of lives and property. That's the primary responsibility of any government or of any governor. And so they don't need any suicide. I tell them that it's the right thing to do. Now, the other thing to say is that these states are talking about investments, and they are going to become flashpoints if they do nothing about it. And the implication is that intended investments flowing to the Southwest may have to go elsewhere. So, and I think Yorubas are smart enough to know that investments mean quite a lot, because investment means creation of wealth, it means the employment of the unemployed, it means GDP growth, it means all kinds of things. So, and the Southwest benefited from relative stability, and it's not something that the Southwest wants to toy with. I want to believe that Southwest leaders will never allow a foothold for bandits and insurgents. They won't.
Okay.